Welcome, everybody, to our Tuesday leadership call at noon. I am super excited every Tuesday, as we all are, because it's payday, but also because we have this amazing we do every single week. If you guys are joining us for the first time, save this link because this same time, same place, every week we interview a different 200K in Lavelle. I was just going through my list yesterday, and I think I've interviewed like 64 different 200Ks. So it's pretty exciting to hear people's stories and backgrounds. And it's just so crazy how similar a lot of stories are, but yet so different. Really kind of recognizing that we all go through the same things and we all hit obstacles and we all have things that we have to overcome to get to where we are today and to continue to stay where we are. And I think that's what's so powerful about every week is because it shows everyone on here that, if somebody and they've gotten through their obstacle or circumstances, then you can too. I am super excited every time I have one of these where I don't know someone's story, and that's the case today. I have 200K Blair Critch on. Did I say your last name right? Critch?
Perfect. Critch. Mm-hmm.
Critch. I did. Yay. I'm I'm like famous for botching names. Like I'm never right. So I'm proud of myself. Um, I Blair, I don't know your whole story, and a lot of people may not. I mean, there's so many 200Ks in the company, and that's what makes Lavelle so amazing. I was with one other company before this, and there was like 60 people total at the top of the comp plan. So, everybody knew who those people were. And in Lavelle, we're so blessed to have a comp plan that anyone can get to the top of if they stay consistent and they dream big. And we have so many 200Ks. I think I'd have to do this call forever and a day to reach everyone. But I am super excited because I don't know your story, and a lot of people on here don't either. And I kind of want to start from the beginning. Like, what were you doing before you ever got into home-based business, network marketing? And then what brought you into network marketing? Was Lavelle your first company? Did you do anything before this? And then how did you find Lavelle? And then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. It's a big question there, Lisa. Well, first, thanks for having me. I can't believe this just shows you how big our company's gotten that I didn't know that you did this every single week. And I'm super jealous because this is such a great idea. And I'm totally going to start plugging myself into these because it's the whole reason why I love the 200K documentaries and all the amazing stuff we get on the Lavelle YouTube channel is because it fills my cup. And right now, while we can't be traveling to see each other, the more stories you hear, the more inspired you get to go out and make it happen for yourself. And that's, a big part of my story is seeing other people and being like, if they can do it, I can do it. So my story started, actually, I got to go way back, I think. So I used to be a kindergarten teacher. And I came from one of those homes where a lot of you guys probably did too, where you go to, you need to know what you're going to do before you go to college. And then you go to college for 4 years, you graduate, you do what you said you were going to do. And then my parents taught me that, you'll become a teacher and then you go back and get your master's at night and then you'll make a little more money. And then you can go back, if you want to, and get your doctorate and make even more money. And you'll work that business for 30 years and then you'll retire. Right? So that was like the philosophy that my parents taught me, and they drilled into me. So entrepreneurship was never something that I was ever taught or even saw from anybody in my family. And so I graduated, I became a teacher. My husband is definitely an entrepreneur at heart, and he built a couple different businesses. And so when I got pregnant with our first child, I had been teaching for a few years and I got to stay home. And then we had our second, and during that 5 years, my husband's business, we hit some bumps. It was during the crash of the economy between 2006, 2008. We had invested in 10 homes here in South Florida. I live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We had invested in 10 homes, and I was kind of in charge of that part while I was at home of helping the renters. And we had had multiple hurricanes here in Florida. It was like the perfect whammy. Multiple hurricanes. People could not afford to pay their rent. Insurance went up. Mortgage industry dropped. My husband's business was wrapped up in the mortgage industry, and everything that we thought we were supposed to be doing fell apart. The money that we had put away in savings had to pay for the houses. My husband's job was basically gone. Money that we put into the stock market was tanking. Like everything was gone. And we ended up having to file bankruptcy. And we lost all those houses. Think about it, 10 houses that you put down 20% on every single house. Heartbreaking. And then we also lost my husband's business. So we basically went from having a lot of money to nothing with 2 kids at home, like a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. And so during that time, it was the spring of 2008. I knew that I was going to have to go back to teaching that fall. But let's be honest, teachers don't make a lot of money. And also, I was like, what are we going to do this summer? Like, how are we going to get money for groceries and things like that? And I kind of fell into a jewelry company. Some of you guys might have heard of them before. Stella and Dot is the name of it. I actually reached out to Elise Leininger, if you guys know her. One of my friends was having an online party. This is like back when Facebook was still pretty new, but she was doing an online party. She was a blogger, a friend of mine. And she actually, had this online Stella and Dot party. And I was like, that jewelry is pretty cute. I can't afford to buy any right now, but I know how these parties work. So I'll just host one for a bunch of my friends and it'll make me happy and I'll get some free jewelry. So I reached out to Elise, who lives in Montana. So that wasn't going to work. And she said, listen, there's nobody in Florida doing this. You need to think about doing this. I'm a teacher too. I do this full time now. You should do it. And I thought, I don't want to start a business and I definitely am not a salesperson. So like, that's not going to work for me. And she said, listen, just try it and see what happens. And so I decided, my mom, which is so ironic, was like, just order the kit. I'll pay for it. You do a party and see if anybody's interested. I think you'd really be good at this. I actually think you'd be really great at sales. And so I ordered the kit. I had my very first party at my house and I ended up having 10 people who wanted to have shows. And I was like, okay, this would be a great way to make some extra money this summer before I go back to teaching that fall. Well, within the very first month of having those 10 shows, I made a couple $1,000s. And as a teacher, that was basically like a full month of getting paid. And my husband looked at me and said, let's give this a year. Then you could be home with the kids. You wouldn't have to put them in daycare after school. Let's just try it. And because he is an entrepreneur, he has that heart, that mind. I was like, okay, we have nothing to lose, so we might as well try it. And so I didn't go back to teaching that fall. I did, that was my first taste of direct sales. And to be totally honest with you, I had jumped into direct sales prior to that. I had done Mona V. How many of you guys remember Mona V? My husband and I bought that $2,000 package when we first got married because somebody convinced us at church that we'd be great at it. And we didn't sell one bottle. So I never thought I was great at sales, but I really loved the jewelry. I had some fun. Yeah, I see somebody in the chat says she did it for 3 weeks. And so I thought it would be, I was like, this is fun. I get to leave the house at night, have jewelry parties, make some extra money. Well, I ended up being with that company for almost 5 years. And during that time, I found a few things that happened. Okay. First was I loved doing the shows. They were really fun and they were awesome when my kids were little, but my kids were getting older and they needed me at their sporting events at night. They needed me for homework at night. It wasn't as much fun to leave the house at night anymore. I wanted to be around for them. Second is I was having a lot of success. I was making about $98,000 a year. This is weird, but literally for 3 years in a row, I made $98,000. I could not get past that amount in commissions, but for 3 years in a row, I made that amount, but nobody else on my team was even making $1,000 a month. And I had this large team, but nobody else was really having the same success as me. And that felt weird. It felt uncomfortable. It felt icky. They only gave one getaway a year. They did a really big one and it was very hard to earn. I earned it every single year, but nobody on my team, I think 2 people total out of the whole 5 years ever earned it with me. So again, it felt icky. People had to spend a lot of money on their packs to join the company. And it would make me feel uncomfortable because a lot of times I knew people weren't going to earn that money back. Can you guys see how unique and different Lavelle is just from this? I mean, so there were these things that just didn't feel right. And my friend Elise, who I had joined Stella and Dot with, left. And within a month after leaving the jewelry business, she left because of personal things, like just it didn't fit in with her philosophy. She didn't love the company anymore. She was looking for something residual. All these things, like I fell into direct sales, so I didn't know what I was looking for. But when Elise left and she knew what she was looking for, I started thinking like, she's right. We should have a consumable product. She's right. I should be looking for something residual. She's right. And like all these things were coming up. But really, all of a sudden I realized that, oh gosh, okay, there we go. All of a sudden I realized, maybe she's right. And so I started watching her and her journey with Thrive and Lavelle. And of course she reached out to me right away and said, you got to try this product. It's amazing. But I thought she was crazy. I thought she was selling snake oil. Honestly, I just didn't think that a vitamin supplement could help you with all that, because I've tried it all. I mean, you name a network marketing company that sells a vitamin supplement or a weight loss product, like I've tried it. Okay. Because when I was doing Stella and Dot, I was doing all these parties with other people. And if they sold Advocare, Isogenics, Plexus, anything, I tried it. Okay. And the wraps, everything, I've tried it. And it never, either a couple things happened. Either they didn't work or they were so complicated to take that I only lasted like a week. Okay. So I was like, those things never work. Well, I watched her for a few months. And what I noticed was that it was working for people and they were raving about it on social media. And then that July of 2014, Elise went to the very first Lavelle conference, and it was the very first time they were in Success magazine. And I saw her up on stage with the other 200K leaders. She just turned 200K. And it was like Chris Collins, who has tattoos like, from his neck down. It was Sheila Fazzoni. It was Maria Dillard. It was another couple that I don't remember. And just the diversity of people that I saw on that stage was shocking, because in the Stella and Dot, we all kind of looked the same. We all came from middle class. It was kind of all the same kind of people. And I remember I texted Elise that day and I said, how much are you making? And she told me, and I was like, a week or a month? Because what she said to me was what I was making about a month. And she goes, no, that's what I made this week. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this might be what I need to do. And at the time, by the way, I felt like crap. I don't know why I didn't believe her about the product, but I was having headaches every day. I was having neck discomfort. I was tired. I was counting down the hours so I could go to bed at night. I wasn't showing up at the best as a wife or a mom. And so I knew something needed to change. And actually my very first text message was to Beth Graves, who's one of my personals. And I said, listen, girl, we've always wanted to do something together. I know you didn't want to do jewelry, but I think I found what we're going to do together. Elise just made XYZ this week, and I'm going to get on the product and see if it works. So I ordered the product. It worked. Day 4, I was sold. By day 6 or 7, my husband was sold. And I had to take a leap of faith. I wasn't able to do both businesses. And Stella and Dot, when I reached out to the CEO, who I thought was my friend, she like had lawyers on me in half a second. And so I knew not only was I going to leave Stella and Dot, but I also had to leave without taking one person with me, because their lawyers were all over me. And I also wanted to show other people that it was possible. I'm going to build this new business from the bottom up without taking anybody along with me. And so that's what I did. I jumped in. Beth was actually my very first promoter. I reached out to people immediately who I knew the product would help, but also people who had watched me before. Like, hey, listen, I know jewelry might not have been your thing, but I know I've always wanted to work with you. So would you be open to looking at this business opportunity? So I would say I probably reached out to, honestly, that first week that I was in business, because I needed to make a certain amount of money. I was paying for certain bills. I couldn't just leave one and jump into another without making money. So I was reaching out to probably 30 to 50 people a day those first 2 weeks, with either the business or the product. I just needed a ton of people to trust me, get started on the product, and see what would happen. And because we did that, our team was able to hit auto bonus in like 3 weeks. It was crazy.
So auto bonus in 3 weeks. How long between like all your ranks? So everybody kind of has a breakdown of like how long it took to get to 200K.
Yep. Well, I was very fortunate that Beth is a rock star too. So I always like to give a shout out, because her team blew up really fast too. So guess what happens when you have a running mate that's running really fast? You know, I did not want to be having to be behind. So I ran super fast. So let's see, we hit auto bonus in 3 weeks. Within the very next month, we hit 40K. Then the following month, 2 months later, we hit 80K. And then I hit 200K at the end of my 4th month.
Wow. Yeah, that's fast. That's pretty incredible. But what people need, the reason like I like people to hear your background too, is because people do need to know that you were networking before. You know, you had been networking and saw success in another company. And even though you weren't bringing people from that company, you had been planting seeds with people, just growing your network for a long time. And I think a lot of people look and they see those numbers and they go, oh my gosh, she hit in 4 months. What am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. You're comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. Like you don't know the backstory yet. So it's so important for people to hear that, because I haven't heard yet on this call a 200K that went 200K within their first year that did not have some kind of a network. I have not heard of one.
Well,
Um,
I think also you guys have to remember that a network doesn't always have to be that you are in another business like
for
this.
sure.
It can also be like, because when I started Stella and Dot, a lot of people were like, oh, of course you did great right away. And I had this huge guilt. And I actually think looking back now, you guys, it was a big reason why I didn't ever get to six figures with them, was my own personal feeling guilty all the time that other people weren't having success. Like that was blocking me from my own success. And I look back and I remember some of the things that people said to me, like, well, of course you're having success. You're so outgoing. Of course you're having success. You know, this person or that person in your community. Well, really, if you back it up, I've always been networking. I was always helping out, even when I was at home with my two boys. I was the one that was helping out with Sunday school classes. I was helping out with putting an auction on for my kids' school. I was helping with, getting moms together for mommy's, night out and for play dates. And that's my personality. So if you guys are on this today and you're like, I don't have a huge network, start with bringing women together or men together. Like, yeah, you can't go and do play dates right now if you're a stay-at-home mom. Are you hosting Zooms? Are you getting women together? I just had this conversation with a girl on my team who's a stay-at-home mom this morning. I'm like, what mommy groups are you normally a part of? She told me. I said, okay, reach out to them and say, let's host a Zoom. Get those people together. So you can start to build and network that way, even if you don't know a ton of people, because it's really just building. It's not always who you know, it's who they know, right? So they might not be interested in the Thrive experience, but they're going to know somebody who is.
Yeah, and it's so true. You're so right, because I've had interviewed 200Ks that have gone 200K in less than a year that have not done network marketing, but when they share their backstory, they were already networking. They were just friendly, outgoing, super involved people that had a lot of people that trusted them because they put themselves out there. And what I think a lot of people have to realize is that not everyone's like that. But it doesn't mean you can't be successful in network marketing. I brought in the shyest of the shyest people with no network that are 80 and 200Ks. I have seen people literally, you grow yourself. It's when you make that decision to start, growing your network. And the nice thing about, if you do have that shy mentality or not a huge network, is social media. I mean, I think about my mom. She did Avon. She went door to door. Can you imagine like having to go door to door to run your like network marketing business? We have it so much easier now because really no matter what your personality is, as long as you're coachable, you can be successful in this industry. It's just time and consistency and remembering that, not comparing yourself to other people. So when you went, because that was fast, and it's not like, how long have you been in now?
I joined the first week in August of 2014. So it'll be 6 years this August.
So 6 years, and I'm pretty sure that once you hit 200K, it wasn't just smooth sailing. I'm I'm pretty sure there have been times in the last 6 years where you're like, what is going on? Or how were we here and now we're here? Or, just the things that happen that I think that so many people don't realize we all go through it. It doesn't matter who you are. You can go super fast, but eventually you will hit a wall, whatever that wall is. It could be a personal wall. It could be losing a team member. It could be so many different things. But really, it's when we hit that wall that we see what we're made of, because I know of 200Ks and 80Ks that are no longer here because when they hit their wall, they didn't want to get over it. They stopped working. Can
Yeah.
you think of some things that stick out in your mind over the last 6 years that you feel like you've had to overcome, that you were like, oh crap, maybe this is falling apart. Maybe we're dying out.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, first of all, if you guys feel, here's the truth and reality is everyone has that wall that Lisa just said. And so I love the book, The Big Leap. I think it's by Guy Hendricks or Gay Hendricks. I can't remember what his first name, if it's Gay or Guy, but The Big Leap. It was so good because it made me realize that, we all have something that makes us, that like we can go backwards. And I've seen it, you guys, on my team alone. We've had people leave. We had 200Ks pack up and leave. And I remember thinking like, are you kidding? Like, even if you just decided to do nothing, why would you leave? Right. But it's because they hit that point right? And they were in their own way and they were self-sabotaging themselves, right? They were allowing silly little things like drama. Nobody's going to always get along, you guys. This is not a sorority. And listen, I was in a sorority. They do not always get along, right? Like, who has ever been in any group where everybody always gets along? Not even in marriage do you always get along. And so I try to view my business as like a sorority or like a marriage. Like, I'm not going to always agree with everybody. I'm not going to always like what everybody does, but I'm always going to be respectful and loving and work my business the way I know I'm supposed to, right? So I think that that's where sometimes people get a hang up and they take things way too personal. So we had some of those bumps in the road. I think that when those things happened, at first it hurts you personally. And I've done a lot of self-development over the last 6 years, more than I ever did when I was in Stella and Dot. And I've realized that, you know, as a leader, I'm here to lead, but what people choose to do is on them. And I can't take things personally. So that was another really great book that I read was Codependent No More by Melody Battles. Like, what people decide to do is on them and that's their choice. But I'm here to guide, inspire, motivate, show the truth, right? So that was probably one of the biggest lessons I had to learn over the last 6 years is that if people want to leave, you know, I can try to love on them and help them. But if they leave, I'm not going to excommunicate them. I'm not going to be mean to them. But guess what? By doing that, one of those 200K leaders that left my team just joined back again 2 months ago with Beth. So it's very interesting. You know, she went and she joined 3 or 4 other businesses and realized there was nothing else out there like Lavelle. And now she's back and she's doing really great. We also had an 80K who left and is now back. And, you know, there's just nothing else like Lavelle. But that was, for me personally, probably one of the hardest. The other thing is, you know, it's not always easy. Right? So I'm just gonna be honest, like my first year, it was easy. Now, did I put in time and energy? Yes. I reached out to minimum 10 people a day with 10 follow-ups a day. That was my minimum after I hit 200K. On my way to 200K, I was reaching out to 20 to 50 a day, depending on what my day looked like. But then after about a year and a half, all of a sudden, maybe at the end of my second year, I hit this huge bump. And all of a sudden, I felt like I could not bring in a new promoter. Any new promoter that I brought in was not hitting VIP, was not hitting 4K, was not hitting 12K the way they were those first couple years. And I remember that voice in my head, that inner critic, right? I was like, the jig is up. It's over. Like, enjoy it while you can because it's about to be over. And when I started to feel that way, I actually remember reaching out to Paul Gravett and saying to him, like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm just like hitting a wall. And he said to me, go back to the basics. You've got to go back to getting people on Thrive. You got to go back to listening to the Tuesday and Thursday calls. You got to go back to what you did in the beginning. And he was right. And so still to this day, you guys, I fill up my cup every single week with stories. Because if I believe in this product and I believe in this business, it doesn't matter what else is going on, I'm willing to reach out. So an example is in February, my PPA was 3. I've always given myself the deal that I will never allow my PPA to go under 5. And the reason I say that is because I feel convicted, and it goes back to Stella and Dot, right? You guys remember when I said I felt guilty when other people weren't having the same success as me? So one of the things that I've learned about myself is if I'm holding myself to the standard of doing what I'm telling other people to do, I feel better. So if I tell you to do X, Y, Z, it's on you if you choose to do it, but I have to be doing it. I can't tell other people to do something I'm not doing. So I've always given myself, I don't want to be under 5 PPA. I was at a 3 and I felt out of integrity. And I felt like I kept hitting a wall in January and February. I wasn't bringing anybody in. Nothing good was happening in my personal business. And that's when I had to have a talk with myself. And I went back to the things I used to do. Birthday messages, 10 reach outs a day, 10 follow-ups a day, sending out samples. And I went back to those things. And you guys, I'm super proud to say I'm at 21 PPA this month. And it's because I went back to those things. And even though during that time, boom, coronavirus came, boom, economy went down, boom, all these things are happening to us, my PPA is going up. And the reason it's going up is because I'm sticking to the basics and I believe in the product. I'm listening to stories every single day. So if I believe in this product, why would I not be reaching out right now during this time? Yeah, people might have financial problems during this time, but if they like the product, they could join me in the business and they could be making $1,200 in their first 2 weeks. There's nothing like that out there. So I think that because Honestly, I think like all those bumps in the road that I hit along the way, Lisa, a lot of times they're just things to remind me to get back to the basics. Like I try to listen, like every time I feel that bump or something happening or an altercation, listen, still happens, right? Still people on my team are like, oh my gosh, so-and-so is doing this and that's not right. And this and that. And I'm like, you know what? You might be right, but right now I'm focused on my personal business. What are you focused on? So I don't know. It's kind of
It's
a roundabout,
so
but
true. Like, I wish everybody would realize, I say this almost every call, but the hardest thing to do when our business is not moving in the right direction is look in the mirror. We
uh,
always want to blame our upline or our downline. They're not working and I don't know what's going on. But really, it's exactly what you said. Get back to the basics. Are you doing your part? You have to work this business every day. Like, you are the one that's running it. You're the one that's making the money come into your household. If you're counting on the people underneath of you to get you to where you want to go, if you have that mentality, you're never going to get there. You may get there for a minute, but you will not stay, because the same people that got me to 200K, my biggest leg is gone. My big leg that got me to 200K isn't even here anymore. Like, I think about that every day. What if I would have just rested on my laurels and said, "Oh, these I'm just going to let these people work it, and I'm just going to collect my paycheck and pretend like I'm working." I mean, only we know and can look in the mirror and know, are you doing what you're supposed to do every single day to be where you are? I mean, I think it's incredible that you have been in this company 6 years and you have a PPA of 21. You're not just you're not just talking the talk, you are walking the walk every single day. And I think you pointed out something so huge. And I was with one other company before this, and the reason I left was the same reason you kind of left yours. It's because I was succeeding, but others weren't. And I wanted to, when I called Chastity Marie and I was like, tell me your numbers. And she told me her numbers in 2.5 years. And I was with the company for 6.5 years, and my numbers weren't even touching hers as far as how many people on her team were succeeding. I was like, I need to be at a place where other people are winning. And I hope you guys heard this, because you probably worked your butt off as Stella and Dot, doing parties. You had to carry stock. You
yeah.
had to spend so much money every month. And you don't have, is there a little residual income with that? A tiny bit, but not this. This is like true residual income, where if something happens to you tomorrow, God forbid, your family will still get a paycheck as long as your downline keeps working. Where with Stella and Dot, it probably would have disappeared. And I mean, eventually altogether. And I think people don't understand how blessed we truly are. And you're so right. When I was with my last company, people left all the time. No one ever came back. What I've lost 80Ks, 200Ks that are coming back.
Mhm.
It's like once you see them go to the third company, the fourth company, you think, man, like, at what point are people going to go, I am going to stick this out? I know, this is what I think people need to understand. Hold on, we are got to mute people out. But what I think people need to really understand and hear is that you can skip from company to company to company. And when you watch a lot of these other people leave, I will say this like a million times. When you watch other people leave companies that are 200Ks, I guarantee you, if they're leaving, they are not making the money they used to. They got lazy. They're not willing to do the work anymore. So they have a decision to make. Am I going to stay put and put in the work to stay where I am? Or can I pick up and leave and go someplace else and take a bunch of people that don't know any different, that think I must be leaving, like, that follow me, like, so they can go make a quick buck somewhere? That
Yeah.
is really, that's what's sad to me, is that a lot of people in this industry, they're really, unfortunately out for themselves. The people that you see switching companies every other year and getting to the top and then going to another one,
Yeah.
they're just using people. It's so sad.
I have a great story about that, actually, you guys. So a lot of you guys know Eric Worre, right? He wrote the book Network Marketing Pro, or Go, right? Go
GoPro.
GoPro. Yeah. So when I first joined Laval, Elise had already gotten tickets. Elise Leininger had already gotten tickets for the Six Figure Summit of his. It was like one of his first years doing it in Vegas, the fall of 2014. And she invited Beth and I because at that point we'd only been in Laval for a couple months, but the trajectory of how much we were already making was putting us at somebody who would be earning six figures in a year. So Eric Worre gave us a pass to come, and Elise paid for Beth and I to come with her. And I sat in that room. That was actually the first time I'd ever been to any kind of network marketing training. And I sat in that room, and he had people stand up based on how much money they were making, right? And how long they had been in it. And the last six people standing of how much money they were making a year, Elise was one of those six. And she had only been in the company since that February. So February to like September. And the very last guy standing was making, I think he was making 21 million a year right now. And he's been in network marketing for 40 years, been with the same company for all 40 years. And when Eric asked him to give us some advice, he said, unless your company is doing something out of your morals, so if your company is doing something out of your morals or the product stopped working, and that's because they changed the formulation, which again would be out of moral, right? So unless your company is doing one of those two things, stay with it. Because the people who stay with the company the longest are the ones who are going to make the most money. He's like, do you know how many people left me over this 40-year span? Do you know how many people thought the next shiny thing was going to make them a ton of money? And you know what? They did. They jumped in. They might have made $1 million here, $1 million there, $1 million there. But they're not making 20 million a year. They're just making $1 million here and there. And that stuck with me, you guys, because listen, there
So
are,
powerful.
right? We go up and down in this business. It is sales. And if you've ever read, like Darren Hardy has a great book about it. It's called the Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. Like you'll always be on a roller coaster when you're an entrepreneur. But I always look at Laval and I listen and I think, where do I want to be in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? Like when I think of my 10-year plan, and Paul asked me this when I met him the first couple months of business. And I said, in 10 years, I want my kids will be both in college, and I want to be able to say to my husband, let's travel the world. Let's go see my team all over the world and enjoy and live and be able to go wherever we want to go, whenever we want to go, and be able to do that because of this residual business that I've built. And in 20 years, I want to be able to put my feet up at a lake house and not have to travel anywhere. And I can do that, right? And so that's the thing. It's like, yeah, I'm working every day right now and I'm keeping my PPA up and I'm working hard still because I am young and I do enjoy it and I like what I'm doing. And my kids haven't even gone to college yet. But when they're off at college, I'll still be working hard. But in 20, 30 years from now, I might not. I might decide that I am going to put my feet up and enjoy this residual business. Who knows? But that's the options you have. You have to know where you're going. And when I would look at that jewelry business of mine, yeah, I was making, listen, for a kindergarten teacher, making $98,000 a year was amazing. I'm not, especially for somebody who had gone through a bankruptcy, I was really proud of myself. But I can tell you this, I didn't see myself in 10, 20 years pulling that jewelry around to every single show. It was exhausting. And doing like these vendor events where I was there for 6 or 7 hours and people were trying to negotiate my jewelry price, that was not something I could see myself doing in 20 years when I'm in my 60s. So think about that. Where do you want to be in 10 years? Where do you want to be in 20 years? Where do you want to be in 30 years? I can tell you this, I want to be hitched to Jason Camper, Paul Gravett, and Drew Hoffman because their vision and their heart is unlike anything I personally have ever seen.
Yeah, it's like I just don't understand the mentality of anybody that thinks a business is going to grow overnight.
Right.
Not a sustainable one. Even people that go 200K within their first year, that's still not sustainable. I mean, you're going to lose so many people because of the turnover. When I waited tables, we lost waitresses every week. I mean, turnover in any business. There's turnover. People quit. That's what they do in life. And you're looking for those people that get it, that are going to stick with it. But I always tell people, if your company has those right components, and I think the biggest thing you have to look at is, are people promoting in that company every month? Are they? If they are getting to the top ranks of the company, then that means that's a good comp plan. That means it's a comp plan that's working. And if the product is good and they're, like you said, it's not changing, like the only thing wrong with your business, if it's not going in the right direction, is you. And you take you with you. So you can go to 10 more businesses, but you're still taking you, your attitude, your worth ethic, the same thing. And I think we're all looking for that, like that excitement, like in the beginning of a relationship, you're all like, oh my God, I got the butterflies. And the same thing when you come into Lavelle, you're all excited, it's new. And then, a couple months go by and you realize, okay, this is work. Like the butterflies aren't there as much anymore. And so we go looking for the new butterflies, right? We're like, oh, well, I'm getting those butterflies again because somebody's talking this company and product up. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you go, the butterflies will go away in 2 to 3, 4, 5 months. And then the work sets in and you got to find the home that's right for you. But I just can't imagine, like, anytime anybody leaves Lavelle, I feel so bad for them because I know it's going to be the biggest mistake of their life. I know that they're going to go, why did I do that? I'm going to have to start over. Can you imagine having to put your tail between your legs and coming back to Lavelle, because it is the right thing, right? It's the right decision. But to know that where you could be if you just would have stuck with it, it's so powerful. I would love to know, you've been I mean, come on, 6 years. I am pretty sure by now your original network, people know what you do. Like, I think it gets harder. Like, people think you're 200K and people are just knocking at your front door saying, can I sign up and become a promoter? It's work. Like, once you get through your network where your friends, your family, all the people on Facebook know about it, now we have to do kind of like the hard work and continue to grow our network, continue to bring in new people. What are you doing? Are you using social media mostly? I know, like, obviously before coronavirus will end, y'all, and we'll all be back out again. But what are the main ways that you continue to add to your network after 6 years?
Yeah, it's a great question. Before I touch on that really quick, the butterflies, I was giggling when you said that because listen, I like that new energy too. You guys, let's all be real. We all love that feeling, right? So if you need to recreate that feeling again, go help somebody get started on Thrive who absolutely loves it. Help them to thrive for free. Talk to them about the business. They join you. That fire of somebody running for VIP, 4K, 12K, it will give you those butterflies again. You just need a new line. That's all you need. And that will give you those butterflies again, I promise. So yeah, I mean, listen, there have been many times I felt like I hit a wall and I need to get some new people. And yes, it can be intimidating for people to want to join somebody who's a Lavelle millionaire, who's a 200K. It sounds like they would run to you, but they don't. And so what I did was last year, I actually committed to going back to vendor events. I hadn't done vendor events in probably 4 years because I don't like them. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm super extrovert when I know the people around me, but I'm actually very shy in groups of people I don't know. Like Jason Stewart's on here. He knows me because he lives in West Palm Beach. We're about an hour apart. The first couple times I probably met him, I probably didn't say a word to him. He probably thought I was a snot. But it's really just because I get kind of intimidated and quiet in large groups, even though I'm an extrovert. So working vendor events stress me out. But I put myself into those uncomfortable situations and I committed. I paid for a year to go to 4 different events. So right now they've pushed it back a year. I got to go to 2 out of the 4. I'll get to go to the other 2 next year in 2021, hopefully. And so what I did, they were 3-day long events. And I didn't do it, you guys, just to meet people. I did it for on-the-job training. People got to earn spots to be there with us. Some other people paid to be there with me. We would push each other. We would have conversations. It allowed us to get on the social media of that vendor event. And so there were multiple reasons why I did it, but it brought me into new conversations and getting out of my comfort zone. And then I'm also, a big fan of the Facebook group thing, guys. I mean, I just got to be honest with you. That's where I've met probably half of the people that are right now my customers. That are part of that 21 PPA is from Facebook groups. For me, finding Facebook groups that relate to me, and then I bring value, and I have a 10-minute block every single day to get in there, to meet people. I also birthday messages. So what I've been doing for since February is every day I do my birthday messages, but I click on each person. So I might have 20 a day of birthday messages. I click on each person. This takes time. It's a 20-minute block every day. Sometimes it takes me longer. I click on each person and I click message. If we have never messaged back and forth before, I find out how we know each other. Obviously, I wish them happy birthday first. Oh, actually, I go look at their Facebook page first. If they are a Lavelle Baron promoter, I unfriend them because I am at max and I have got to stop being friends with every single Lavelle person and start meeting some new people. So I go on. If they're a Lavelle person, I unfriend them. I still send them a happy birthday to be nice. Then if it's not a Lavelle person, I hit message. I look to see if we've ever messaged before. If we have, I figure out how I know them. I reconnect with them. If we've never messaged before, I send them a happy birthday message and ask, I cannot figure out how we know each other. Do you know how? And I'm relating with them. So I think birthday messages, Facebook groups are probably where I'm getting the most people right now. And then you guys, I am determined to help every single customer get their product for free. So it's about their networks. They might not be interested in doing the business with me, but then they connect me with a couple people. And actually, Lisa, I redid your video that you did a couple years ago about how you put people in groups to help them thrive for free. Do you remember that video?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
that video has the most views of, well, when
Freaking
I came in, I was like, I was noticing that our team totally wasn't getting people to thrive for free. And I'm like, you guys, these people didn't sign up to do the business. It sounds all fine and dandy, but they're not going to put in the work. You're going to have to do the work if you're expecting them to thrive for free. And I'm like, this, it just made like total sense, but it works. It takes work though,
If you guys have
but
not
that's
seen
what
that
we
video,
do.
you have to watch that video. And so I basically recreated Lisa's for my team with, my verbiage and the way that we talk. And I use that. So you guys, for example, Mexico is a great example for you guys. Okay. I forgot however many as a 40K and higher you had to get. I think it was 4, right? We had to have 4 and 4. All 4 of those customers I got from Mexico were customers, because I use that method that Lisa showed. So I ask my customer what they're loving about the Thrive experience. They tell me, I repeat it back to them. I go, oh, you're loving how you're sleeping better at night. You have more energy and you've lost 2 pounds. That's amazing. Can you think of 4 or 5 people who would want to feel the same way? Awesome. Well, I have a couple coupons right now, or a couple samples, whatever I decide I'm giving. I would love if you let's put about 5 or 6 people into a message. The first 3 that say yes, I'll give it to them. Really, I give it to all of them, you guys. But they put them in a message with me, and I give them the verbiage of what to say back. And you guys can watch Lisa's video. It's amazing. But basically, that's what I do. So when you hear a number like 21 PPA, only half those people did I ever interact with to begin with. The other half are me helping customers thrive for free. And
It's such a huge way to grow your network,
yeah,
because like just off of doing that, that is, besides groups, that's probably the biggest way that I grow my network is through referrals. It's my customers, because most of my customers haven't converted yet, but they've led me to so many people that either did convert, and I always go to that customer and say, are you sure you don't want to do this? Because that girl you just sent me wants to, you always want to check, because why not get 2 instead of 1? But it is so huge because you can never run out of people. I mean, if you're constantly digging into your even your free customer accounts, like you guys could all go today, and anybody that signed a free customer account with you, say to them, I know you signed a customer account with me. Do you want to actually try the product? I would love to help you get it for free. Do you have some friends that are tired and need to lose weight? You can do the whole process that way too, but it's huge to grow your network. If I was in your inbox today, I would love to know. I'm like, hey, Blair, I'm ready. Let's do this thing. I want to be a promoter. Take me through what you would do with me, like in that first 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I still love a 3-way call. And that is the weirdest thing to me. That has definitely, that's my biggest thing. I'm always trying to beg, plead, borrow people to get back to. I don't know why people get intimidated by that, but validation is amazing. So as soon as somebody tells me they're ready, I'm like, awesome. You got to hear my friend so-and-so's story about what this business has done for her. You've already heard it from me, but hold on one second. I want you to hear it from her. So then I get a validation call. And then from there, when they're ready to start, we walk through what does that 14 days look like? How do you earn the bonuses? And then I ask them, what would an extra $1,100 in your bank do for you and your family? Like, I want them thinking about it. I want them thinking about like, okay, what would that cash do for me? Because when I started, you guys, when I left Still and Dot to do this, one of the things I didn't tell you guys is that we had literally we had gone through that bankruptcy. We had been living in a house that wasn't ours. And we were finally bought a house again that fall. It was like literally the week that I started as a Live Well brand promoter, we moved into the house that we're in now. And we had put down every last dime for that 20%, right? To be able to get this house. And so I didn't have any extra cash when I started with Live Well, even, and I was leaving Stella and Dot, that I was making, you know, a certain amount every month. And so I remember that feeling of thinking like, okay, $1,100, that's going to pay for the back to school supplies, their uniforms. That's going to be perfect. That's exactly what I need in, you know, in this week. And so I asked people, what would that $1,100 do for you and your family? Okay. So now every day we're going to be checking in together. You're going to be connecting me with people. We're going to be moving forward to help you earn this bonus. I'm going to be a little annoying for the first 14 days. We're going to be partnered together. We're going to be running together. And at the end of the 14 days, you can go, Blair, this is amazing. I freaking love this. I'm going now for the Maui gyms. Or you can go, you know what? This is too fast of a pace for me. I would like to slow it down a little bit from here. It's up to you. It's your business. But I want you to earn this bonus because it's money on the table. And why wouldn't you? And now it also helps to start your business. And then you can see it grow. So that's kind of how we see
Yeah.
it.
Well, and I think people need to understand when you sign someone new, it's not up to them. At least I don't think it is. It's not up to them to contact me every day. I contact them every day. They're, you know, obviously not everyone we sign is going to be all in. I mean, we've all signed those people that are like, yeah, I want to do this, and then, you know, day two they're not answering you back, and that happens. But if you're in their inbox and you're reassuring and you're saying, you know, hey, let's get together today. Can we do a FaceTime? Let's make a list. Like, they're going to go off of you because they don't know what to do, you know? And I think to connect people right away is so huge, like just face to face somehow, because, and like you said, hold on a second. Let me mute out. Just like you said, third party credibility, like why everybody is so dang scared of the phone, I don't know. But at the very least, getting them in a three-way message with somebody that can share their story, because it just makes it 10 times better when they start hearing that validation from someone else, especially if this person's just been following you. You're great and all, but to hear from another person, this stuff is cool, you can get this bonus, the excitement from someone else, it just like, it fires people up. And people aren't doing it enough. Like, I think it should be mandatory. The second you sign someone up, or you're going to sign someone up, as a promoter, they need to be in a message with someone else. They need to be on a call. Like, I wish that it was a rule. It drives me nuts how many people don't do it. But and I think it's also new people are signing new people are signing new people. So if people get lost in the mix, they don't know where to go. Whereas if they were put in that third party validation message, at least if their person that signed them quits, they know they can go to this person that they kind of know because they've talked already. So it's so important for like 50 million reasons. But do you ever feel like how, okay, like I'm going to ask a personal question for me personally. And I'm sure a lot of other people want to know too, but I once in a while catch myself falling into the trap of not working my own business because I'm helping so many other people. Like, like I'll go through a whole month and I'm like, wait, my PPA is 1. Okay, this is not cool. Like, I'm not working my own business. And even though I'm up every day and I'm on the phone and I'm doing all the stuff, I realize that I'm not working my own business. How do you balance that out to make sure that you are still working your business and not doing too much for everybody else?
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Okay. So I think that when you first become a leader, you know, you want to do everything for your team all the time. Right. And so what ends up happening is you do your personal business falls off. And then like once you become a leader for a little bit longer, like you start to realize, okay, I've got to put up boundaries. Like there has to be boundaries. It's okay for me to say no. I can't do it during that time. And I think that's where a lot of us struggle. And a lot of people burn out in this business because they don't have boundaries, right? So they're saying yes to every single time somebody asks them to get on the phone with them. But the reality is that you're also trying to still build your business. So for me personally, I just have a lot of boundaries up. My team knows that if they want me for a three-way call or a three-way message, they can put me on anytime. I will get back to that three-way message within 1 to 2 hours because I have designated times. Like I'm a time blocker, you guys. Once I figured out how to time block my calendar, I had way more time. So there are certain times that I look at social media and certain times I do not because it's a time sucker for me. But my team knows that if they put me on a three-way message with somebody, they say to that person, hey, Blair will be on in a little bit. She checks her social media at certain times. So I always get back between 1 to 2 hours. And then once I start a conversation, I keep looking, right? But if it's a three-way call, they know that the way to get in touch with me is by sending me a text message and asking, and I will get in. If I can do it, I always say yes. Like if I was planning to do reach outs during that time, I'll put my reach outs aside to do a three-way call. However, I will not put my personal business aside to just get on the phone and talk with you. And that was a hard, tough lesson I had to learn because everybody wants to talk to everybody all the time. And we are in a relationship building business, right? So it's hard. Like I want to make sure I know what's going on in my team's life because that's what keeps people around. We have people on our team who've been with us since the very beginning. So they've been with us for 5.5 years. And I really believe those that have, it's because we have personal relationships. We're excited to see each other on the trips. Some of them don't even care if they ever get past 12K. They do it for the community, right? So I think it's important that you have those relationships with them, but I have boundaries around it. Like if it's during my work hours of when I'm trying to work, I'm not going to say yes to hopping on the phone with somebody. I book a time with them and it might not be for today, but if it's a three-way call, you better believe I'm going to get on that three-way call with you. Right. So I think that it's just boundaries. It's figuring out those boundaries. And I also always say to my team over and over and over again, I don't want to be out of integrity. If I'm telling you to do something, I want to be doing it too. I don't want to be out of integrity because if we all are honest with ourselves, how many times have you been annoyed by somebody who's been leading you, who you know hasn't done a three-way call, who you know probably hasn't gotten a sale in forever? It's frustrating. So I don't ever want to be out of integrity. So I try to like bring it up so that it's kind of like the elephant in the room. Like, yeah, I can't get on a call with you right now because I'm working my own business, or I can't get on a call with you right now because this is the time that I slotted for my family, but I'm free tomorrow at this time or this time. What works for you?
I love that. That amazing. That was a great answer. I What about, I mean, we kind of talked about this a little bit. Like you said, not everybody's going to get along. Um, and I've been doing this for 10 years and it's like, you sometimes go, why can't everybody get along? We're in such an amazing business. Why can't just people, I mean, we've seen it all. You see people separate themselves and their team. Sometimes they don't plug anybody in and you're like thinking, why are you doing that? That's like killing your business. And then you see some people that you're on the phone with every other day because they're complaining about a downline, or then you have somebody messaging you saying, I'm sick of making this person money, my upline. I don't want to work this anymore because I'm going to make someone else money. There's a million things, pitfalls. I guess I would say that like people can fall into. If you had to pick like one thing that you think any promoter like that could just ruin them or their business or something to stay away from, or don't fall into this, like one trap not to fall into, what do you think is like the biggest advice you could give somebody to not, I don't know. Am I making sense? Like
Yeah.
what's that like in your opinion, the biggest thing
Well, I
that
can tell you
someone
my
needs to
opinion.
avoid?
Yeah, I can tell you my opinion, but you guys listen, I've fallen so many times on this. But I can tell you that when I'm doing it right, I see the best stuff. So basically, don't fall into the drama, right? So, you have to be able to separate yourself from the drama. And sometimes that's hard because maybe it's one of your closest friends or a family member or somebody you really care about, and they're bringing you something, right? And it's very hard to be able to say to them, like, you know what, I don't think that this is helping either one of us, or what can we do to improve this situation? Those are hard conversations, but those are true leadership conversations. And I still struggle with them. Like somebody called me today complaining about somebody else, and I listened, and I shouldn't have listened. I should have said, what can we do to resolve this? What would you like to see happen? Right? And then talk about solutions instead of listening to the problem. And there's a really great book called The Four Agreements. It talks a lot about that in that book as well. But it's still something I struggle with because I am a girl's girl and I love to listen and I love, to be there and be their friend. But the reality is it's not serving or helping anybody when we listen to the, it's basically gossip. It's your interpretation of how somebody meant something. Right. And so instead of as leaders being like, well, so-and-so and so-and-so just called me and they're really upset about this, as a leader, we shouldn't listen to to that kind of stuff. Instead, we should be like, wow, it sounds like that really bothered you. What can we do to help this situation? Or what can we do to move forward? Or what can we do to keep our team positive instead of listening to it?
Yeah. It's gonna kill you. I mean, I've watched people's teams that are just amazing. Literally, the drama comes in like a cancer. And if, they always say it starts with the leader, or there's somehow it's connected to the leadership. And it is so true. The drama teams that I've seen over the years, it started at the top. I mean, it's because the leader's either entertaining it, it's they're not putting a kibosh to it, like this is not happening. It really, really does. And it's so hard to look in the mirror, but you guys, if you're having drama on your team right now, first say, does this have anything to do with me? Am I entertaining this at all? Because we're all going to have drama, we all are, but it's how you kind of deal with it. I think that's huge. I can tell, Blair, you are so much like me when it comes to self-development. You keep mentioning books, and I am an avid book collector, reader, Audible. I mean, I've always got something in my ear. I'm always picking up a new book. And I think, I think about it, and I don't even know how anyone could ever be a good leader or good in this industry if they're not self-developing. Like, I can't imagine what I would be like if I never picked up a book, never listened to an Audible. Like, I would not have grown into the person I've become at all without it. And I think it's so important. And I know you've already mentioned a couple books, but are there any other books that you're like, look, if you are brand new in network marketing, or if you've been in, these are musts that you got to read or listen to?
Well, okay, so I have a couple different ones I always recommend. So if you've never read Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, that's my all-time favorite book because that was probably one of the first books I read when I started this business, and it made me realize I needed to start reading, to start growing myself. So Compound Effect's a great one by Darren Hardy. Another one, if you are just not super familiar like with this industry and why network marketing is so special, because I really wanted to talk to business owners and other people when I started with this company, where like with jewelry, those weren't really the right people. And so I read the book Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. He also has one called the Business of the 21st Century, but it's hard to find for some reason. But if you read Cash Flow Quadrant, that's a good one too. I just actually finished this book. It was great. If you guys, I'm not a Rachel Hollis fan. I know everyone wants to throw tomatoes at me, but I love her husband's book. Was amazing. And I just did a virtual book club. Tomorrow night's our last night. It's called Get Out of Your Own Way by Dave Hollis. And it's 19 lies that we tell ourselves. It's been really good. I think like it's a lot of lies that we tell ourselves in network marketing too. Yeah, there's so many good ones.
There are. You know what? I forgot all about that Robert Kiyosaki book. That was so good. Yeah. And I think we're all at a different place with self-development. Like some people need to like read books on getting organized and staying focused. Other people, they have big teams and they need to like learn leadership more. So everybody's like in a different place. It's like when somebody messages me, they're like, what should I be reading? And I'm like, I don't know. Where are you at? Like, what do you need? Because we're all so different. But I agree with you. The Compound Effect is a book that anytime I'm asked, it's always in my top 5. Like, that is a must read. And I think it really gets people understanding that the little things that you do over time are adding up. You just have to trust it.
Well, and using that for your Livell business too, you guys. Like when I'm talking to people about why they should use the Thrive experience, to me, it goes hand in hand with the compound effect, right? Okay, so we can eat a cheeseburger every day and or have a Coke every day. What's our body going to be like in a month, in a year, in 10 years? Or we can take the Thrive experience every day. What's our body going to be like in a month, in a year, and in 10 years, right? So, yeah, so good.
So we are at the top of the hour. We're about to get paid in 1 minute, which I'm really excited. Every Tuesday. It's so cool to be in a company that you get paid once a week. It's just awesome. And it's like the coolest day because when you can make a post on Facebook and just show the little things that your Livell paycheck is doing for you, I think it reaches so many people. Just like not huge things like I'm going to buy a car or just paid my house for 4 years. That's like not even relatable to people. But when you can say it just put groceries in my fridge for a year or for the next week or gas in my car for the week, that's the stuff that people, that's relatable to people. Like they believe that that's possible. When you're saying like, hey, we just have like 18,000 people on our team, their cars are paid for. It's great to say that, but I know when I was looking from the outside in before I had joined network marketing, any post like that, I was like, right. Yeah, right. For sure, whatever. That's real. And I think that the ones that got me for sure were the ones where they would say just things that I needed daily, like my electric bill paid or something like that. So hope you guys all go and make a post today, because you don't know who you could be reaching, especially during this time. And um, it's crazy. I mean, none of us have been through anything like this in our lifetime. But I cannot believe, I don't know if you're shocked too, Blair, but I truly thought, oh, we're going to take a hit. Like, there's no way we're not going to take a hit. I'm growing. Our team is growing. I'm like, we aren't even taking a hit at all. This is amazing. And are there some people taking a hit? But I think the people that are taking the hit are the people that they're letting their own brains think that something's going, like they're going into every conversation thinking this person doesn't have money, or they're putting their preconceived, you know, thoughts and just assuming that that's everyone. And I think those people that are, kind of making lemonade out of lemons, I think those people are the ones that are really right now. Um, just to end us out, do you have one last tip that you want to give everybody, kind of like those people that might feel stuck because of the coronavirus and everything going on?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so two things. One, plug into the stories because you could change somebody's life, like Lisa just said, and it is a necessity right now. So stop thinking that people can't afford it, that people don't have time, whatever. That's all in your head, and you're making the decision for them, and that's unfair. So give them the opportunity. The second thing is you guys I talked to my team this morning and it was a reality check. How many of you are talking about recharge to your current customers? You worked your butt off to earn that GOAT promo and you're not pushing to make your retail sales higher this month. That makes no logical sense. So we talked this morning on our team about, hey, I'm going to reach out to my 5th, my 15th, and my 25th. And you know what? 5th already passed. Today it already went through. So if you haven't done it, it's okay. You still have the 15th and the 25th auto ship customers to reach out to. But reach out to them and say, hey, how are you doing? I'm so proud of you to be thriving during this super hard time. This is the best thing you could be doing for your body. What are you loving about the Thrive experience right now? Let them tell you, then answer back and say, listen, I got to tell you about our newest baby. Our newest baby is Recharge. Have you seen it? And list out the things. If you guys haven't seen that, what the ingredients are, list them out. Go research it for yourself. What do each of those ingredients do for people? I saw Natasha posted it. I posted it. I made a story for my whole team on it. Each graphic had each item that's in this and what it does for your body. And I'm saying to them, hey, listen, Recharge has all this stuff in it. It's going to recharge your immune system while you sleep at night. You deserve that. You need that. Do you want to add it to your next auto ship order? And if they come back and say to you, I can't afford that right now, you say, you know what? I'm going to send you 3 in the mail. I'm going to cut out 3 of mine and I'm going to put it in the mail to you because I appreciate you as a customer. Get their address, send it to them in the mail. And then the next thing you're talking about is how to get your Thrive for free if they're not already thriving for free. Because if they can't afford it, it probably means because they're not getting their Thrive experience for free, right? So that's what you need to help them do in the month of May. So think about it. If you helped every single one of your customers right now to add Recharge and get their Thrive for free, your retail sales would probably double and you're earning double on your retail sales this month. So go do something great for your family and for others and have those conversations. Don't get nervous. Don't get weird. You're helping people.
I love it. Blair, you're awesome. I just want to thank you so much for getting on and taking an hour out of your life to hop on with us. I know we're all busy and I just appreciate you so much. And I don't know about you, but like my messenger is going crazy right now with people checking their paychecks and everybody's like, biggest check ever, my biggest one ever. Like, that's so exciting, you guys. It's just, it's so exciting to be a part of this right now and to think that we're just getting started. It's crazy. I mean, Lavella is 7 years old, guys, 8 years old. We're like pioneers. It's so cool to be a part of it during this time and to know that it's just getting started and you're in the right place at the right time with the right company. You guys, it's just a matter of time before you get to where you want to go. As long as you don't give up, don't company hop, stay put, push through the hard stuff and the obstacles, because guess what, there's always going to be hard stuff and obstacles. But if you stay grounded, I'm telling you, you are going to get to where you want to go here. It's just a matter of time. And that time's going to be different for everybody. But if you put in that dedication and that hard work and consistency, I truly believe that anybody that's on this Zoom right now within 5 to 7 years can be a 200K, can have a $10,000 plus monthly incomes in this company, as long as you just don't quit. But you got to do the work too, guys. You got to do the work too. And I just want to thank you guys all for hopping on this call every Tuesday, because it's a huge, I think it's a huge way to self-develop and just hear these different 200K stories like Blair's, and, the different 200Ks we hear from. Yes, a lot of them say the same things in different ways, but their stories are completely different, and the stuff they've gone through, and just knowing that you're not alone, that someone else has lost a rank too. Someone else has lost a bonus too. Someone else has lost team members too. Like, this happens to all of us, but if you keep going and keep pushing forward, you're going to get to where you want to go. You'll always come out on top. And I think that that's an amazing thing. So thank you guys. Thank you, Blair, so much. I will get this recording out, everybody, as soon as my amazing friend Danny gets it downloaded, and we'll get it out to everybody. And happy payday. Congratulations to all of you guys who got the GOAT promo, and you're looking at some of your biggest paychecks ever. Super exciting. Enjoy something awesome with your check this week. Splurge a little on yourself, whatever it is, just a tiny bit, and then save the rest. Put the rest in savings. I love you guys. Have a good week. See you next Tuesday. Same time, same link.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Blair.